Welcome to another production by the Millennial Mechanical Therapist. Your hosts, Dr. Joseph Gravino and Dr. Clay Case, are two physical therapists trying to treat health issues mechanically. Listen further for patient cases, guest videos, advantages and disadvantages of the way they practice, and much more. Thanks for tuning in today. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, and at our website. We hope that you learn a lot from watching this video and you come back for more.
Hello everybody, we are the Millennial Mechanical Therapists. I'm Joe.
I'm Clay.
And today we're going to talk about pain that is a referral pattern from an extremity joint or one coming from the spine, how to tell the difference, and what to do about it. Early on in your history taking, one thing that I do really like about the McKenzie system or the MDT system, as well as the use of the MDT eval forms, is that they really lay out some subjective and objective type measurements for you that you can take pretty quickly, and if you use it a lot you really don't even have to look at it so much, but really a lot of the stuff in the better worse section, if you're familiar with it, can really kind of narrow your thought processes into, is this problem coming from the shoulder, or is it coming from the neck, or something from the lower extremities in the back, low back. Things like pain at rest versus not having pain at rest. Things like what types of activities influence it. Predominantly being super general, if we're talking about the low back and the lower extremities, flexion type activities of the lumbar spine typically make it worse. Typically. So, if you're seeing that prolonged sitting is making them worse, well, yeah, that could be an arthritic joint or a situation happening, an inflammatory situation happening. But man, does that sound like someone who has back pain, someone who evidently has low back pain. And you can go forward to continued use of the limb, different positions like walking, standing, lying. You can commonly see and you can get a feel for what an extremity joint is, saying, and what a referral pattern from the spine is saying. Which is wonderful because, obviously you should still always do a screen. You should still screen looking at the spine regardless, because who knows if it is the problem. We've seen some weird stuff. I know you've seen some really interesting stuff, predominantly I think a gentleman who was like pain with kneeling. Yeah. I've seen crazy. Some weird similar stuff too, where, looked like a duck, sounded like a duck, but wasn't. So you can never truly be, 100%, so you always have to look at that spine, but I think you can get a pretty good idea just from the subjective and objective information before you start, really moving the patient on what you think is particularly the problem.
You're definitely going through a detailed history taking, which, like you, I think the MDT assessment form really facilitates that really well. When you get that detailed history in which you genuinely listen to the patient and care for the patient, you're not just checking items off and just finding out
random special tests,
all those kinds of things. You're not just going through the laundry list. You're actually listening to what they are trying to tell you. When they tell their story, more times than not, they will clue you into where you really want to look. Now, like you said, you gotta screen the spine. It's just so quick and easy, and prevents you from getting burned so often. But most of the times you can get a pretty good idea from your history, subjectively, just where you want to focus that objective part of your examination. And once you go through there, what I find easiest for us, and we're probably a little biased, but when you go through a repeated movement exam at either a joint in the extremity or one of the joints in the spine, it becomes evident usually pretty quickly whether you're right or you're wrong.
Yeah.
Now there are some cases that they just get tricky, but
sometimes it takes longer.
When you go to the extremity joint and you just are hitting a brick wall and you are not getting anywhere, tells you pretty quickly, look up a little bit.
Yeah.
Just look up higher in the chain and see if something up there is going to affect it, and kind of return back to your screen and maybe just take it a couple steps farther. So when you're going through that, for us, like I said, maybe we're a little biased, but I just think that the MDT evaluation process makes that so easy. to determine which location you're really looking at. You know, it kind of leads you down that little algorithm they always teach you in the course is location, classification, direction, force. And if you aren't getting that location right, then everything below it just isn't going to work.
No.
So it clues you in pretty easily when you have to change that location part.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think some piece of the objective information that really can clue you in is, you know, I know a lot of us are starting to realize that special tests, orthopedic special tests, aren't necessarily that great, even when they're clustered. I'm pretty sure we have a past video on that specifically that you can look up. But using a special test as like a baseline feature, or using something that they can't do or having problems with as a baseline feature, and then moving it. If you find that, you know, if they can't go upstairs, or you're finding positive McMurray's test for a knee, and you're continually moving the knee, and nothing's changing, it's not even getting worse on you, then, you know, look somewhere else. You know, maybe they need something in the spine, right? Or if vice versa, if you check it and then all of a sudden you have them do something in the spine and then they go to do stairs again and it's super easy, you can do anything in the knee. Like you should look further into that spine. So, you know, I love using those types of things, A, for you to feel confident about what you're doing as a therapist, but B, it's so awesome, I think, for the patient to see that. Like, what an awesome buy-in factor and return that they get when, you know, negotiating stairs is painful, and then all of a sudden they do a couple things and boom, they can go upstairs without a problem. Like, man, is that nice.
So,
well, I think that's all we'll leave for you today. If you guys have any questions or concerns, reach out to us. You can find us on our website or our Facebook page. As we always say, move your patients early.
move them off.
And move them down range, because that's where the magic happens, my friends. We'll see you next time.